So good evening, everyone that is joining us for this ACCA Early Careers Twilight webinar. Thank you for joining. We will be starting this webinar at 6:31. So just waiting for everyone to be able to join. Do feel free to use the chat function to ask any questions or to say hello where you're joining us from. I'm currently in London and looking forward to hosting this session with a panel of speakers that you'll be hearing from today. So for those of you just joining us, good evening and welcome to this Twilight webinar session with ACCA. We're going to be hearing from future leaders, accountancy opportunities for all young people. We're going to be starting in about 2 minutes. So feel free to use the chat function to let us know where you're from today, where you're dialing in from, and if you have any questions. We do also have the Q&A function. So hello, Cambridge, Camberley. Okay, so we're going to make a start in about 1 minute. So thank you all for joining this session. Really pleased that you've joined us this evening on a Wednesday evening to hear about early careers and opportunities in accountancy and to hear from our panel. So yeah, thank you all for joining across the country. So I think I'm going to make a start and as people join. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining the ACCA session. As you know, the title, Future Leaders, Careers Opportunities for Young People. My name is George Chunias, Early Careers Manager here at the ACCA, and I'm going to be your host for this evening's session, supported by my ACCA colleague Sayali, who works with the university team. It's great to see that so many have joined us for this Twilight webinar session. Please make sure your microphones are on mute if they're not already on mute. This webinar is part of a wider series of webinars that we're running to redefine the accountant and provide opportunities for young people, parents, guardians, and educators to understand more about a career in accountancy and finance, dispel some myths, showcase the range of opportunities available, because our overarching aim is to widen access to accountancy. So as you can see on your screen, this evening, I'm really pleased to be joined by Alex, Ninad, Jai, Chengai, and Jane, who will introduce themselves when we get to the panel session of today's session. They work in the profession. They're going to say how they got here and also provide some ideas around opportunities for young people. First things first, some housekeeping. The session is due to finish at around 7:15, and there will be time for Q&A towards the end of the session. You've all started to type into the chat, so please pop in any questions there. We will try and answer as many questions as we can, really. So first things first, who is ACCA? So ACCA, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, or ACCA for short, is the global professional body for those working in accounting and finance. We have over 250,000 members in 180 countries. We are truly a global organization, just like accountancy and finance. We offer the qualifications for accounting and finance professionals so they can be recognized globally and have this global passport to work all over the world. Now, for those of you joining, you might not know what a professional body is, but for young people, where we usually refer to it as, they might have heard of things like Edexcel or AQA. In the qualification sense, a professional body is similar, But once you have your qualification, you become part of the ACCA community. And as I said, our qualifications are global. And the great thing about ACCA qualification is that there are many ways you can become qualified, whether it's through an apprenticeship, self-study, a graduate program. There is no limit to that. Now, our core values, our three core values, reflect the unique reasons why ACCA was created in the first place, and they are inclusion, integrity, and innovation. Now, some of you joining the call might be thinking, so accountants might only, where do accountants work? They work in every profession, every sector. We can see on the screen from the likes of TikTok, you can be working at Formula One, the United Nations, British Airways. We've got people on the call who will talk about where they're working. And accountants are truly in demand always, anywhere and everywhere. And no business can function without a finance professional. So I'm really pleased that we are joined by our panel. As I said, we have a great panel. We'll be asking them questions, and you will get time to ask them some questions yourself. So without further ado, I will allow each person to briefly introduce themselves in order of their image on their screen, just to talk about their current role and how they got there. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen while I do that. So here we are. So first up, I'm going to go with Alex. So Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, George, and welcome everybody. I'm really excited to talk about my journey today. My name's Alex. I'm the founder of Soren Falcon Accountancy. So I basically did young enterprise, I did business and finance, I did AAT, and I finally did ACCA to become a fully qualified accountant. I set up my business in 2015 to be digital and to be like fully paperless. And one of the main reasons I decided to do that was so that I can travel the world. So even though I'm in England now, I'm usually in Bali or Thailand or in Sydney or somewhere around the world running my practice. I have amazing clients internationally. And yeah, just really excited to explain that, being an accountant isn't what people normally assume that it is. So I've been International Assembly of ACCA, public speaker, and do lots of amazing things on the side as well. So yeah, really excited to be here and to share my experiences. So thank you, George, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, we'll come back to the question shortly. So next up on my list is Ninad.
Thanks for having me, George. My name is Sarfraz Ninad. I'm an ACCA member and a partner at Swindon Chartered Certified Accountants. I also serve as an ACCA Early Career Ambassador, supporting and inspiring future accountants. In addition, I mentor emerging leader in internal auditing and lead Greenbarter as its CEO, which focusing on sustainability and innovation. My journey into accountancy was inspired by my uncle and grandfather, both of whom are professional accountants. Seeing their dedication and the impact of their work on the business and communities motivated me to follow in their footsteps. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on my list is Jai.
Good evening, all. It's a pleasure to speak to you. So my name is Jai Jim. I was the head of finance, in fact, very recently. I am proud to say that I'm now the finance director for FEI Foods. We're a food manufacturing company. You may have seen our product on shelves in your local Aldi or Lidl. We make microwavable rice, so we make 250 million of them. It's a large business. And yeah, I absolutely love my job. And the reason why I'm here today is I fell into accounting in my own route, and that was my father owns a Chinese takeaway, the family business. I was pretty much destined to end up in that job or looking after my dad's business. But one day I met my dad's accountant and he suggested I should go to uni to study that. I did, I enjoyed it. And while I was at university, I was actually spoken to by another young early careers ambassador, which told me about ACCA. And fortunately, I followed that path, and it's been a great career and rewarding career for me.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us tonight. And then next is Chengai. I think you're on mute.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chengai Reredzo, and I was born in Zimbabwe, and I started my career aged 18, and that was at Deloitte doing audits. I found myself next working for IBM, and then I came to the UK. So when I came to the UK, I started all over again with ACCA, and that's been one of the best decisions of my entire life. So I love working with artificial intelligence, in sustainability, with advanced taxation. I love audit as well, because audit was my background in which I trained. And I mean, my journey wasn't that smooth. When I came to the UK, I even became homeless. I did all kinds of horrible jobs, like cleaning jobs, after training with one of the big 4 accounting firms back home. And eventually I found my way back into the accountancy profession. And I love the work that I do. I've been working for 6.5 years now for a company called Open Energy Market Limited. And we're a technology company within the energy industry. So we have been, I was promoted from finance manager, and my role most recently has been financial controller. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so such a variety of roles. And then we're going to go, so Jane.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'll try and keep this brief. So I'm not an accountant or an auditor, but I do work with them. I currently work as part of the resourcing team for a professional services firm or an accountancy firm called BDO. You may have heard people referring to the Big Four. So those are the top 4 accounting firms in the UK and the world. And I'm very proud to say that BDO, my employer, is number 5, which I'm very, very proud of. So I've worked for BDO for about 9 years, and my job is to work with the recruiters to bring in young talent, whether it's graduates or school leaver apprentices, into our business and really sort of build the future leader population and the future partner population of our firm. And I'm really, really invested in that, as you can tell, because I'm 9.5 years deep. So I've seen people go the full journey over and over again, and it's been so, so rewarding. I will talk about it later if you want. I won't bore you with it now.
I mean, because you work in the early career space. I think the first question will go to you is around sort of misconceptions that people have about accounts. So people will be listening and they'll have their own. I had my own before I came into this world. So what are the misconceptions about accountancy that you can share?
I mean, we could go super into the granular if you want, but the really super obvious ones are you have to be good at maths. That is a massive misconception. If you can use a calculator, you're halfway there. What we do need you to do is to be, good with people, have a collaborative mindset, to have a bit of grit and resilience about you, because work isn't always easy and isn't always a total breeze, and a real sort of commitment to the values and the culture of the company that you're working for, whether it's BDO or whoever else. So the misconceptions are: be good at maths, be white, middle class, boring, really, really dull. I promise you, if that were the case and I was surrounded by people like that all year long, all day, every day, 8,000 people at BDO, I would not have lasted this long. As you can tell, I've got a lot of personality and I'm trying to keep it contained right now. But I feel I can unapologetically be myself in our workplace, and I would very much encourage others to be the same, to be successful.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to go to Chengai now. So building on the misconception, I'll join the question with misconception and the favorite part of your role.
The favorite part of my role is that it's so diverse. One minute I'm dealing with taxes, the next minute I'm dealing with the auditors, the next minute I'm dealing with from different departments. I just love, I'm a big communicator, and I love dealing with different organizations, different people, and just addressing their needs, solving problems, and working with our own team. I love training people up, making sure that they really understand the role and the task that's to hand. So that's what I love about my role.
Yeah, and I think it just from the two of you that have talked, that you can see the wide variety in sort of skills and what you can be doing. So I'm going to go to Jai now. Do you have any misconceptions, and also like what's the favorite part of your role working where you are?
I definitely echo the point of Jane. Accountants are sort of changing and evolving, and a lot of my team that are very not meeting that original stereotype. In terms of my favorite part is I love interacting with people. It's interesting in accounting, we learn about the technical accounting bits, but actually, when you're in the real world, and you're in the industry, it's all about building and interacting, building relationships with people in other departments, building new relationships with stakeholders like the banks and auditors and customers. And it's very interesting actually how much interaction you have with people. You're not just head into a spreadsheet. So I guess that's a normal, that's one of the misconceptions. You're not constantly at your desk, quiet, headphones in, doing nothing. You're just concentrating. You actually get a chance to deal with people, and that's the exciting part, because everybody's different. And
yeah, that's great. Thank you. And going back to Ninad, what's the favorite part of your role, or is there any other misconceptions you would like to or myths to dispel?
Sure. Many people think accountancy is just about number crunching and taxes, but I believe it's much broader. People think we only deal with number. This is not true. As an internal auditor, I have to conduct operational audit, compliance audit, beside financial audit, which involve strategic decision making, risk assessment, helping organization to achieve their goals. So accountancy is a blend of technical expertise, business acumen, and interpersonal skills. So ACCA members are not limited to working in a traditional accounting department. The qualification open doors to diverse roles, to like ACCA members are now working in internal audit department, risk management department, governance, compliance, supply chain department. So these versatility is because the ACCA qualification provides a comprehensive knowledge base, I think.
Yeah.
And I think you also asking me that about what my favorite role. My favorite part is is internal audit and risk management, because the company facing risk everywhere, and my part is to reduce the risk by setting a proper control and achieve company's goals. It is a best part, when organization set your recommended internal control and get benefits from that, which make you champion for that process.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. So, Alex, how about yourself? The favorite part of your role? And I mean, you're a digital nomad, so that for me is like very interesting. So, yeah, could you share a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I think, I really love the fact that I was entrepreneurial and I was able to set up my own practice with my qualification. I guess for me, my favorite part is, traveling the world, meeting clients internationally, going to conferences overseas, and then actually helping the people that I meet overseas launch their business into the UK. And so I have the benefit of traveling and then also coming back to the UK and then helping them set up a company and then start their business from zero and then watch them grow over the years and then expand and then be part of their journey. I think that I just get so much satisfaction of knowing that I was part of that and helping them to grow, and to succeed into what the things that their ultimate goals that they wanted to set. So yeah, I guess all very, very different. But
and I guess a typical day is very varied for you. So there isn't is there anything that you do every day, day to day? Every day is different.
I never have one day the same. Every day is literally different. I know everybody thinks that being an accountant, that you're at a desk and you're working on numbers, but actually that's a very, very small part of what you do, because a lot of people, they rely on you and they trust you and they call you all the time and they ask you questions, and they invite you to certain things or to events or to meetings and things like that. So every day is very, very different, and you don't have like a routine as such. So it's working on people's businesses. It's it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Chengai. What does a typical day look like for you?
So when I wake up, first thing I'll do is open my emails, and I'll just see what's there from the team internally, what's there from different departments, and what emails have come externally. So it could be anything from matters relating to sustainability. As accountants, we also want to save the planet, and we need to be showing what we're doing about that. It could be matters to deal with artificial intelligence. So one of the things I've been doing is designing and developing an AI bot to help us with month end. If you speak to any accountant, one of the dreaded parts that they'll say is, oh, month end, month end. So the thing is, I designed this AI bot, and what it does is it saves time during the pressure times like month end for our team. So at the end of the day, month end can actually be seamless. And there's a way that I work that my team never really feel the pressure of month end, because there are certain things that we can do in advance, which just involves a bit of planning, and then it doesn't become that typical nightmare that some people might talk about. So after that, you know, I could be making phone calls to HMRC, talking about PAYE, personal taxes. I could be talking about corporation taxes, which are company taxes. And I could also be dealing with lawyers, solicitors, because when we deal with other companies, you enter into contracts, and those contracts are signed, and then, you know, you could be agreeing terms of what goes into contracts, or if there's been a disagreement, you can get clarity on the meaning of certain clauses within contracts. And I love that, because I remember in my exams, one of my favorite subjects was law and writing those essays, and I got really high marks in that. And it could be the annual audit, when the auditors come and they check all our work. You know, I love that, because then I have such a sense of pride in the work that we've done over the course of the year, and we can present it to the auditors. And I'm very pleased to say that for 7 years in a row, we have not had one matter raised by the auditors. So
Amazing.
That's a clean bill.
Yeah.
For 7 years.
Lots of different variety in tasks, and, you know, getting involved in lots of different things. And I really like the AI angle, because technology, you know, is ever evolving. I'm going to go to Jane. So there's probably going to be parents, guardians, maybe young people considering like a career in accountancy. From an early careers perspective, we said you don't have to be amazing at maths, but what skills do you think, you know, other skills are important for someone to succeed from the start all the way to the top?
Yeah, I think I touched on it before. I think, you know, if you're entering into a business as a trainee, so as somebody who's coming in as maybe a school leaver, apprentice, or a graduate, just obviously check out the potential employer first of all. You're going to talk about values and culture, and it's very HR of me and a bit sort of, you know, warm and fuzzy, but I absolutely mean it. You have to absolutely align yourself to an employer's value and cultures, because it won't last long if you don't. You might go for the money because the money's good, but if the culture and the values don't match what's in your core, you're not going to last there very long. You'll get frustrated, you'll burn out. So I would say do your research, but I think have that collaborative mindset. You will be going into work with a team. I think Jai said it earlier on that you're not always sitting there with your headphones on. There will be time for focus and you know, decompression. You know, God knows we all need it, but you know, you will be working as part of a team. If you're on an audit, or, you know, you're on client site, you'll be working with different partners and directors and managers. So, you know, just keep your ears and your eyes open and just learn from other people and ask questions. So the inquisitive mindset, a collaborative mindset, be yourself. Again, it sounds cheesy, but I absolutely believe that. Unapologetically be yourself from the go. Authenticity will get you an awfully long way. So authenticity, being authentic is another one. Oh, I could go and go.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to Jai, because you're quite.
I was told to be
fine. No, I like the passion. No. But Jai, because you're quite senior, what types of you know, skills are you looking for in the, you know, the future generation, like you think are really important for them to succeed? Anything above that, you know, Jane has mentioned?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it's definitely not just maths. So again, just to dispel that, because actually it's all around sort of problem solving is definitely a key skill that I look for. And if somebody can demonstrate they've got a good logic and they can work through a problem, and they can follow a process, that's really important, because in an organization we all adhere to processes, and it's very important that people can follow them. One of the things that I find is very important when I'm looking at candidates is more of is fit. Will they fit into the team? Do they have what's their aspirations? Will they be motivated in our environment? You know, and it's a really important part. So yes, qualifications are important, of course, but I would say at least 50% when I'm recruiting is fit as well, because that's just as important as well for us.
Yeah, and it's something
Can I
really
jump
important. Yeah,
Sorry, I know you
yeah.
hate this. Sorry, George,
No,
but
no, I
just
don't.
off the
No.
back of that as well is just trust that the employer that you're working with will teach you everything that you need to know. If you bring these soft skills and these sort of core skills, everything else can be learned. So don't feel that you need to go in there with a wealth of experience and knowledge already, because 9 times out of 10 you don't. Sorry.
Exactly. There's so much that can be taught, and I think the emphasis on soft skills is just so important and underestimated, and something that in schools they're trying to develop those soft skills for the young people. I'm going to go to you, Nina. Is there any other skills that you've required for yourself in your role to succeed?
I think I agreed with them, Jay. I want to add two things. Like analytical thinking is really important. I think that the ability to analyze, a basic some data or identify risk and some opportunity. And the other thing is communication skill. It is very important that how you communicate, your potential employer, or how you interview with your potential employer, and eventually adaptability, that how you adopt the thing very quickly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, adaptability. And then finally, Alex, anything else from like your digital nomad perspective and like business owner?
Yeah, so I guess one of the things we talked about previously is like when I did my maths exams, I had to do them twice. I really struggled in my exams when it came to maths, but when it came to doing my qualification, it was very, very practical. So I think, being logical, being practical, being analytical, being open-minded as well. So like I said, no day is the same, and every client is very different. So, being adaptable to your situation, to circumstances, to different businesses and people, I think they're really important skills to have.
Yeah.
When we talked about, having maths as a background, even though I tried my best to try and get through my maths exams, actually when it came to doing the accounting exams, they were very, very different, and I just applied that everyday knowledge and practical skills. So a hands-on approach, I think, is more important than
100%.
through your exams.
Yeah, and like the ACCA qualification or any professional qualification, you can see it in practice when you're working. It's something that we had a session yesterday with a day in the life of an apprentice, and you talked about seeing the learning. And one of the things that apprentices did talk about and early careers professionals was about resilience. And I think some of the things that you've talked about, the resilience element has come through. We are going to get a chance to go to some Q&A, but I've got one last question of you all, and I'm going to start with Jane from like an early careers perspective. What advice would you give to like a parent or a guardian to pass on to a young person if they're tuning in tonight around a career in accountancy and finance?
I'll keep an open mind. We've said it already. Ask questions, be visible, use the channels that are available to you. You're not always going to have a webinar that you can jump on every evening and all the rest of it, but you do have, we're BDO on TikTok. I'm in my 40s. We call it TikTok, Instagram. There are channels where you can get in touch with people like myself, people like all of us. Get in touch, safely use the methods that are there, ask questions, find out, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you're just waiting for the information to come to you, because school won't always give it to you, college won't always give it to you. So get out there and meet some people, and as I say, be memorable, be visible, ask lots and lots of questions.
Yeah, and be proactive. So I'm going to go to Chengai. With any advice that you would have?
I would advise people that, they should reach out to people in different spheres of their influence. And if you know someone's an accountant, ask them about their role, and ask different people, because everyone's going to have a different perspective. Just like when an accountant comes and they start training up with us, I'll say to them, don't just get excited about what I'm training you. There are certain things that I'll teach you, and I have certain strengths, but the other accountants also have their own strengths. So speak to them as well and see what you can learn from them, because everybody's different. And one thing that makes me get so excited is when I see a sixth former sending me a request to connect on LinkedIn. And to me, that's just the greatest honor, that they would, look at me and seek me out and want to follow what I'm doing. But like Jane said, do it in a safe place. Make sure you're under parental guidance when you're sending requests on the different social media platforms.
Yeah, 100%. That's yeah, really good on LinkedIn. It's great. So Ninad, any advice from yourself?
Yeah, I'd like to request parents and guardians to inspire and empower their children with the belief that yes, they can achieve their great things. Motivate them to view accountancy as a dynamic and rewarding career filled with opportunities across diverse industries and roles. And please use the powerful words like, yes, you can do it. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna at the end of the session, we are gonna give some more information around where you can access more information to do with careers. So I'm gonna go to Jai. Any advice you would give?
Yeah, so I mean, I would sell accounting as a very reliable, stable employment opportunity in the future. You know, accountants will always be needed. If we go into recession, accountants will be needed. If business is going well, accountants are going to be needed. You know, it's a very stable. It is very rewarding through all different levels of finance. You know, the salaries are good, and you know, sell it. It's a great industry to be in and profession to be in. I would say if you need to any encouragement, you know, that for me is the stable future of accounting is always going to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, in this sort of climate, like stability in a career and a profession is so important and something that, you know, you can't underestimate. Alex, to you, any advice that you'd give a parent or a guardian that would about a young person considering accounting and finance?
Yeah, I just think when I first started, I actually volunteered at a local accountancy firm to get some practice in and to see whether or not I actually enjoyed it. And essentially that's given me the grounding to where I am today to be able to be entrepreneurial and to set up my accountancy firm. So I would look into local firms close by to see whether or not they have something to offer. And I didn't go to uni. I went straight on to you know, being supported by a local firm, and so I'm always going to be grateful for that knowledge and that experience that they gave me. So I didn't have like big loans or anything like that. But I bought my first house when I was 21. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, the flexibility of the qualification, yeah, and as you said, there's we're going to go to some Q&A now in the chat, and I see there's a few coming in. I think this is the first question, is how is AI affecting and going to affect accountancy? So I'm going to open it up to, you know, is anyone would like to take that from the panel? Okay, Alex?
Yeah, I would. And the reason being is because I use AI every day and I have been doing it for the last 10 years, not just recently. But what it's allowed me to do is essentially implement bots and AI into my clients' work. So it allows me to then do like the really exciting things, like to give advice to my clients. So yes, it's important to learn all the stuff, but actually the AIs can now do a lot of the stuff that you start off as a trainee. So essentially when you go into a role, you might not actually do that part anymore and you'll go straight into learning the advisory side of things. So I think it's really exciting to have that in, but it just means that you might step into a role like a step ahead of what we did when we went into the qualification.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Anyone else have anything to add on AI? I mean, from I know I've gone to you again, Jane, but like AI and the application process. I know one of the things I was talking about yesterday was like if you are going to do an application and you do use AI, make sure you make the changes or take away where it says like enter company name and stuff like that. But how do you think AI in the terms of the early career space?
I mean, I can only really speak for our application process.
Yeah.
I think that there's a place for AI and chat GPT and things like that, you know, throughout all the stages. But when it comes to your actual application, it's so short. I wouldn't recommend using it just to sort of fill out your name and your personal details. There are no essay questions or anything. I wouldn't personally recommend it at that stage, and we don't use it. We have a sort of filtering mechanism, if you like, because we get 30,000 odd applications a year, but yeah, I don't think it's necessary to rely on it at that stage, to be fair.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I've put up here, there's if you could scan this QR code for our feedback, and I'm also going to put the feedback link in the chat, so going side to side by the questions. I think one of the questions that came up, and I'm not sure if some people's chat function, the Q&A is not working. However, someone did write, isn't the core, and there's no question as a bad question, by the way, so we're all here to learn, and you know how we answer it is the important. But someone did say, isn't the core work like the accounting itself boring? So anyone would like to, someone would like to answer that? It's going to be a free for all. If you, Chengai, and then Jai.
So on some of my posts on LinkedIn, I actually put hashtag accountants are not boring. And just to tap into the AI bit again, you know, when I was working for a company called IBM Global Services 25 years ago, I remember the techie guys were saying to us that, you know, you guys chose the wrong profession. Do you know that in 10 years' time, robots are going to take over your jobs? And even now, people are asking questions. Accountants are asking, is AI going to take over our jobs? Are we threatened? You know, should we be reskilling? Yes, we should be reskilling. And just to give a little bit of insight into how AI is used day to day, for example, some of our team are on the banking side. And what we do is we get the transactions to come automatically from our banking app into our accounting software. But you still need that human eye to check each and every transaction. Because if you don't, I'll give you an example. The AI once assigned money that was put into our bank to the wrong customer. And then the correct customer was saying, why sending us a statement saying we owe you when we paid? And when we looked into it, the AI had made an error. So you still need, you know, every accountant that's coming up to date, even though, you know, ACCA will be embedding things like AI and sustainability into the exams, you still need that solid foundation and to be excellent in everything that you do, because we are a profession and we do have very high standards to maintain. And the thing is, if you don't understand the foundational principles of, for example, debits and credits, you're not going to be able to pick out when the AI makes mistakes. Even when it comes to our VAT returns, I've picked up errors where our accounts payable software has made errors. And when I dig into it, as accountants, if anything's wrong that we send across to HMRC, we could find ourselves in trouble. So you do need to be trained up and skilled. So I'd encourage everybody that, you know, it's not a profession that's about to go out of fashion because of AI. AI and humans work very well together.
Yeah. Jai, did you have anything to add to that in terms of the boring part?
Yeah.
I think you had your hand up, and I was like, yeah, let's hear. I'm convinced it isn't. So yeah, but yeah.
You know, I can see why people think that would be the case, and perhaps that was my thoughts originally as well. But actually, you know, that I come from an industry background. I think to be clear, you got practice in industry. In my route, I came through industry. I was brought into a business, and I got a chance very early days to understand a lot about how a business operates, how it works, the different flows. And yes, you got the accounting and even the boring bits of the accounting, like data entry or data manipulation or doing the same thing every month or the same repetitive task. You know, what makes it interesting for you, if you're got the right mindset, you've got the curiosity to want to know what's driving those numbers, it's actually very interesting. You know, no doubt there are some bad employers that give really boring work, but as Jane mentioned, it's all about finding the right employer for you or the right size business that's going to give you the experience. So what I say is, when you go for interviews, as much as they're trying to see if you're right for them, you've also got to ask the questions to understand if they are right for you as well. So that's really important.
Yeah, thank you. There's I've been seeing there's quite a few questions around university and apprenticeship. Now, you know, my sort of take on, and I'll see if anyone else would like to say something on that, is that, you know, both pathways will lead you to becoming qualified, and there's no limit to your progression. So it depends on the type of person that you are. You can be, you know, the ACCA qualification is open to everyone, and that's kind of one of our founding principles. So, you know, for some people, apprenticeship is the way forward. For other people, it's going to university, then going to a graduate program. And also there might be people in England joining us, or have, you know, someone in their care that's doing a T-level. It's T-level week this week, which is a technical qualification equal to 3 A levels, and there is a T-level in accounting. So yeah, I just wanted to put in there. I think Alex, you came off mute, so did you want to say
Yes.
something?
Yeah, I think like it is really important because to talk about the differences between apprenticeship and university, because it's not university isn't for everybody, but essentially some people just generally want to have that experience. So I think it does come down to the individual, but some people might just want to learn on the job, and that's why accounting is so important, because it's very, very practical. So you go into the job and you learn on the job, and that's why the apprenticeship is so good. Also, you get paid, whereas university, it's a different experience. Like you end up with like a student loan, and I'm not disregarding that, because obviously you get a lot more, you get so much more out of going to university than just getting a student loan. Obviously you have your skills and things like that, but I didn't go to university. It was by choice. I decided to, we didn't have apprenticeships for ACCA back then, but we did have, my work did sponsor me. But today, I run my own accountancy firm, have like multiple investments and, crypto and whatever, and all those really amazing things. Like I learned so much from such a young age. And, I mentioned earlier, like I bought my first property when I was, 21. So you get different skill sets from different road, whichever way you decide to go. So ultimately it's down to the individual, like whether you want to go to university or not.
So I'm just trying to get through some of the questions. So one that struck me quite a lot was how far is accounting and sustainability linked? I think that's an interesting, because we touched on AI, and then now there's a question around sustainability. Is anyone on the panel would like to take that one at all? Yeah, Chengai?
So for the past 2 years, I've been traveling overseas, and I've chaired CFO conferences. And at both conferences, we've had one of the professors who is involved in devising the sustainability IFRSs. So there's an organization called the ISSB, and that stands for the International Sustainability Standards Board. And what they do is they set the standards by which accountants need to comply when doing their sustainability reporting. So there are different terms like CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, and sustainability. They work hand in hand. So the thing is, we need to apply, at the moment, there's sustainability standard S1 and S2, and S3 and S4 are going to come out very soon. So what it means is that companies, especially listed companies, are going to be obliged to do sustainability reporting. Now, when I was in my company about 5 years ago, I started talking about sustainability reporting, and people actually laughed at me. And now, as of the past 1.5 years, our company, in the services that we offer to our clients, we offer mandatory sustainability reporting that we will do for them as well. And I've actually been in charge of our sustainability report, which we do on an annual basis. And one of the great things that we can all be proud of as a company is that we reduced our carbon footprint by 33% from last year to this year. So that's the kind of impact that companies have, because our carbon footprint can be quite detrimental to the environment, and we need to be seen to be doing, demonstrating what we're doing about reducing that carbon footprint. So that's where sustainability comes into accountants' work.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. So someone wrote their son is doing a T-level, I'm presuming in accounts, or a T-level. So T-level should be a pathway into an apprenticeship. So it is the first year that started 2 years ago. There's people have gone into an apprenticeship through that, and then they would study they would study for an apprenticeship and become qualified. So yeah, an apprenticeship, you are studying and working at the same time. But I'm going to have one final question, and that's going to be to Jane. Is if someone is interested, because I know you work for an employer directly, so if someone is interested in finding about opportunities in the organization, how can they do that?
It's all very Googleable. I mean, if you just, for example, work experience for BDO, we offer a virtual work experience.
Great. Someone
platform.
Talked about work experience.
Yeah, that I did notice that as well. I did a little thumbs up, but just BDO work experience, KPMG insight days. These are the kind of words that employers use. Things like insights, insight programs, insight days, virtual work experience. Just Google it. We want people to come in. We want people to register. We want to meet interested young people and parents and guardians as well. So we advertise the opportunities because we want them out there. So just search for them and, you know, connect with people like me on LinkedIn if that's an option. And as I say, ask questions. You've heard me say that already.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. So I've put the feedback form, which is in here. So I'm just going to go for some next steps because people are going to be wondering about, you know, so next week on the 10th, we have actually got an application masterclass for accountancy and finance application masterclass webinar. You can register for that. There is a parent and guardian guide to ACCA qualifications. These are all, you can click on them, but I'm going to put them into the chat very shortly. If you are a university student, there is an ACCA Advantage program that my colleague Sayali manages, as she works with universities up and down the country. So you can find out about that program. Another really great thing for those that are interested, ACCA X offers free courses. So they are free courses that you can give you a taster. It's really good to kind of, you know, really entry level, just to give you a flavor of like what you could be doing. And then, of course, there's the ACCA Careers Portal, where you can find sort of lots of rich information around careers. There's guidance, there's how to write your CV, there's internships, there's all kinds of jobs on there. So I've posted all the links into the chat. I mean, the final thing is just to say thank you very much to everyone who joined the session. You can connect with us on LinkedIn should you wish. And I'm going to just, you know, give some final thoughts to the people joining us. So I've put my email and the university email. So I'll start with Alex. Any final words before we close this?
I think one of the advice somebody said to me is that once you've learned to be an accountant, it's a passport to the world, that you would ultimately be more likely to be successful when you have a financial background. So whatever you decide to do, like, it's always going to be an amazing skill set to have.
Yeah, thank you. Ninad?
I encourage you to pursue a professional qualification such as ACC or similar recognized qualification. And, you know, then it will help you to achieve your goals. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Jai?
I mean, I'm just reading through the comments, but I am more than happy to be approached via email or LinkedIn if there's anybody who wants some sort of mentorship. I'd be more than happy to.
I've put everyone's names on the slides now so they can see.
So please, do reach out, and if you're interested, I'd be happy to support you, give you some advice.
Great, thank you. Chengai?
I'd like to encourage everyone to look into the accountancy profession, because personally speaking, growing up, my mom was a single parent and a nurse, and we struggled financially growing up. But what ACCA has done for me is that I have a 6-figure salary. And that means that I'm the highest earner in my family, and I'm able to not only look after myself, but also to help other people as well. I'm able to do a lot of significant charitable work as well with the church that I do. So it gives you that peace of mind, and it can give you a very good life. I'm able to travel the world, and I really love my work.
Thank you. And then finally, Jane?
I think just back yourself. Don't count yourself out. If you don't see yourself in a corporate environment or can't envision yourself in a corporate environment, find a way to put yourself in a corporate environment. Go and visit an office, arrange something like that with, a reputable employer. And if you don't see yourself speaking to a senior partner or a director at a big firm or a small firm, meet with them. Again, as long as it's done safely and responsibly, put yourself. That's probably the quickest way if you just really sort of believe that it can happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, I ended on a bit of a Disney
No,
note.
it's good.
Happen.
No, we like that. I mean, yeah, thank you all so much for joining. We're just out of time, and I think there was quite a lot of questions around the types of grades and the studying. Now, please join the next week's session around the application masterclass, where we will talk about that. And I mean, one thing that I can say from my experience as early careers managers, a lot of companies have different entry requirements, and it's like a case-by-case basis, but there will be a baseline. So yeah, I think that's all. So thank you all very much for joining. I will stop, and thank you to the panel. I know sometimes I forget, make sure to say thank you to everyone. So thank you all for joining me, and thank you also to Sayali for supporting this event. And yeah, I will stay online, and yeah, I will stop recording.
Thank